Is it a sin for Christians to wear tattoos? Does God prohibit it? Stay tuned. God bless you this morning, friends. Thank you for joining me on Morning Nuggets. This is yours truly, Pastor Nate. It is my absolute pleasure every time I come and speak with you. Let's get into it. Is it a sin for believers to have tattoos? Does God forbid it? If you're a conservative, legalistic Christian, you may say yes, it's a sin to wear tattoos, because you probably base your premises on Leviticus 19 and 28, when God forbade Israel, when he established the covenant, the law with Israel, he forbade them not to have any markings on their bodies or any graven images, any piercing, different things like that. And the reason why God told Israel not to do that, because it would resemble the pagan worshipers, because that's what they did. They cut themselves, they wore piercing, and they cut themselves because they were honoring the dead. And God didn't want Israel to look like the pagan worshipers. So he told them not to do that. And that's in the law. So those of you who say that wearing tattoos is wrong, then eating meat is wrong. Meat that bleeds. Because that's also in the law. Your pork, your beef, your cow, chicken, all that stuff bleeds. If wearing tattoos is wrong, then eating meat that bleeds is wrong. I can go even further. Anything else in the water is wrong. You can eat fish, but it forbade eating anything else other than fish in the water. So many of you go to Razzoos and Papados, and you like that calamari and that squid. Can't do that. My point is, don't cherry pick. Don't say one thing is wrong and not the other. I'm so glad I'm freed from the law. Jesus came to fulfill the law. And if you're still going by that hard taskmaster, if you're still going by that law, the scriptures say Christ died in vain. Ooh, friend, and I know he did not die in vain for me. Ah, my God. So, you have to ask yourself if you're getting tattoos. Let's go ahead and put it in perspective. Ask yourself, what's the reason for getting a tattoo? What's the frame of mind? 70 years to 100 years ago, a lot of people wore tattoos because they rebelled. And you probably associate tattoos with just promiscuous living, the drug era. You probably associated all that with that. Gangs and things of that nature. Somebody's in prison, they mark themselves, I guess, to let others know whose side they're on. If you're getting tattoos for that reason, then it's wrong. You have to ask yourself, what's the motive? What's the heart behind getting it? I mean, am I getting it to worship the devil? Am I getting it to worship idol gods? Right, if you're getting it for that reason, then it's wrong. But if you're getting it for the right reasons, then it may be okay getting a tattoo. I'm getting a tattoo to express my love for someone. We do that all the time. Boyfriend, girlfriend, maybe it's your mom or your sister. Maybe someone has passed on and you got a tattoo to remind you of that person. That's okay. Am I getting tattoos all over my body? I've known people to be tattooed from the crown of their head to the sole of their feet. Now that might be a little extreme. I have to question that, because why are you getting that? It looks like you're more into yourself. And we know we don't need to put ourselves before God. So just think of the reasons why you're getting tattoos. In other words, think before you ink. Come on, somebody. If God completely forbade tattoos, then he wouldn't have said this in Isaiah 49 and 16. He was so pleased with Israel, he said that I have graven thee in the palm of my hand. So if God completely discounted tattoos, he wouldn't have said that. Now we know that God didn't physically put that in the palm of his hand. You know, it's symbolic that we are in God's hand. But my point is, he used the terminology. If tattoos was such a disdain, come on y'all, if he hated it so much, then certainly he wouldn't have used it in that scripture. I don't think it's wrong to have tattoos. I personally don't have any. I'm not too particularly interested, and I don't judge people who do. I don't wear them. Again, ask yourself the questions before you get that tattoo as to why you're getting them, and then understand the culture in which you live. So if you are getting that tattoo, make sure it's the right message being conveyed. Some things can be offensive. If you say you're a Christian and your tattoo is sending the wrong message, then that leaves your salvation open to be questioned. For example, we deal with culture all the time, and that's what God, he dealt with. He was dealing with the practice, the pagan practice, which he forbade. And culture does change. I might say, oh, I'm stuffed. I'm so full. You fix me a meal. I sit down and say, oh, I'm stuffed. And that's essentially, I really enjoyed it. I'm so full. Now I want to go to sleep. I'm stuffed. But if you say that in another region, then that can be very offensive to someone. So you see how culture changed. So I think we have to understand the culture in which we live in and make sure the message being conveyed is not offensive to others. So there's another scripture in Revelation 19:16 where the scriptures said Jesus had inscribed on his thigh, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Now, a lot of scholars, they go back and forth. Some say that was a tattoo. It was a marking on his thigh. And some say it was just on his clothing, his sash that came down maybe over his thigh. And you can see from the shoulder and around his thigh. I have a tendency of believing it could be that because Jesus was a Jew. When he was here on earth, he didn't come to abolish the law, but he came to fulfill it. The new covenant didn't start until he died, until he shed his blood. That's when it was over, and he established a new covenant with us. But while he was walking on earth, in many cases, he tried to honor the law because he knew the culture in which he was operating in. So I don't personally think that it was written on Jesus' thigh, but rather on the clothing that went across his thigh. Friend, I pray that this exhortation bless you this morning. If you're getting value from these videos, please don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. More of these will come. Thank you for your support. In the meantime, in between time, be at peace and not in pieces. Till next time, my friend.